Hello and welcome back. The last thing that we need to add to our template to look like the sample is a series of links at the bottom. Now these are 6 across when we are in tablet and desktop view, but they are reduced to 3 across and 2 rows in the phone. So this will give us another opportunity to play around with rows and columns. All right, let's start by coding this thing. So we're going to the source code. Okay, currently we have our content. The content contains, the container has a header. That's one block. Then there's a nav block. And then there's the content block, which is the biggest. And then there's the footer block. Between the end of content and above the footer, we're going to add yet another section. And we're going to give it a class equals links. And inside of that, we're just going to put a bunch of divs with anchors. Actually, we're not going to put that. We're just going to put a bunch of anchors in there. And then we're going to style those. So div class equals links with a bunch of anchors. Save it. Look at our work. And there they are across. All right, now let's go to the phone and start looking at some styling. All right, so just above the footer, we're going to add a section. These are actually social links. So it's going to be div dot links space A. We already know that the first thing you have to do with an anchor is display as a block. So it will respond to height and width statements. Now we can give it a width of, I'm going to grab my calculator here, and there's 6 of them. So if I take 100 and divide it by 6, that gives me a width of 16.66666%. Now let's see. Oh, and then let's go ahead and give it a background so that we can see it. Okay, there they are. Now, they're 16%. We want to actually float them across the screen to see if they fit properly. Okay, and they do. Now, remember, we're starting on the phone. That's way too small. So if we double 16.66, or take 100 and divide it by 3, that you should be able to do in your head. 33.333. Hit refresh. There they are, 3 across and 2 high. And now all we need to do is take this statement, go to our tablet, above the footer, and we don't need to display a block. We simply need to change this width to 16.666%. They're still floated. They're still everything else. So now I have them displayed across 6 across and 2 rows of 3. Okay, in the essence of time now, I've paused the video and I've added the following code block to the phone-default. Okay, we already had a width. I've added margin to make these buttons a little bit bigger. We already had float. I've added border radius. I've added a height statement. And I've aligned the text to the center. I've given it a color, a padding top, and turned off the line. And then I've put a nice gradient behind it. I've also gone to the a:/hover state and simply changed the background color to this kind of a reddish color. Okay, so that's the phone version. Tablet version, I have a a slight problem with the tablet. That's because we're throwing some additional spacing at it, so they no longer fit. So we went from 33 down to 29 because I had margin of 2% on each side. So 33 minus 4 is 29. So I need to go to tablet where I have 16 and I need to take away 4. So 16 minus 4 is 12. We save that. They should now fit across the bottom nicely with 2% on each side. This is 2 plus 2, so there's a 4% gap. And of course on the desktop they look the same there too. So that's our completed example home center site where we've learned about navigation, we've learned about multiple columns, and we've reviewed some other stuff. In the next video we'll jump into Photoshop and take a look at creating a size conscious background image for the desktop.